I would like to talk about the timeline of the end times, talk about God's calendar. Where we are as Christians, there's a lot of questions that's happening, that's going around, and there's a lot of concerns that I've just dotted down here that, people want to know about the rapture, the tribulation, the coming of Christ, the Antichrist, and the mark of the beast, or the 666, the beast itself, and the plagues that will be unleashed on the earth. But some of us don't really know how and when and where this is going to happen. So I thought, let me just take some time out and maybe just try and explain this to you. I've drawn this up just to save some time. But if we look at, if we start with this calendar, we're going to go all the way through till there briefly. But each age in each section has a different teaching. There's an in-depth teaching to each one of them. And maybe with the help of God, we can cover that at a later stage. So right now, what I would like to bring across is this is the part where the cross happened, where the Messiah came. The Messiah was crucified, but he was resurrected from the dead. This section here is after the cross. This is obviously before the cross, Old Testament, where the law was passed and all that. After the cross is what we have to be concerned about, because this is the age that we are in now. This is when we look at the book of Revelation 1, 2, and 3. That is where we are currently, if that is a concern for you. So if we look at this, we call this, right, the church age or the church era. And recently I've come to learn that it is the Gentile age, because who rules the church? Gentiles. Okay. So during this era, during this time now, we want to obviously find out what has happened from when Christ went back up to heaven, and then what will be the next step. What are we looking out for? What happens now? So during this age here, we have been introduced to the 7 churches in the book of Revelation. The 7 churches is explained to us there from between Revelation 2 and Revelation 3. We find the 7 churches that John was shown by God what is happening in this era. So after the cross, this is where we are, and we are going through all this. We are going through the 7 stages or the 7 parts of the church age. That's where we are. The church rules and reigns, and we've gone through all these multiple stages where we are now coming to the 7th part of the churches. So if you read Revelation 2 and 3, you will find the different churches there. However, not only was it addressed to the 7 churches of the time when John wrote this or when he saw the vision, but this is it is universal and it is global. So this affects each and every church of God, each and every church of Christ. So what are we concerned about now? We want to know that where we are now, what is going to happen next. So Jesus appears to John in the book of Revelation 1, and he says to him, write down what you see. And John saw the 7 churches, and that is where we are right now. So John wrote down how Jesus addressed the 7 churches. The meaning of the names are there. The period of the church history we can probably go through. There's the character of each church, Christ's title as a judge on each church, their faults, and then obviously their rewards, if they become overcomers. All right. Now, this is what's going to happen next. After this has come to full completion, which nobody knows. Remember, Jesus tells us that we don't know the time that this is going to happen. However, it is going to happen soon. And even if we say soon, we still don't know the time. So what's going to happen when we get to this timeline here, when we get to this point here? Next on the calendar of God is the rapture. This is where Jesus is going to come on the cloud, and he's going to come in. We will all be taken up with him onto the cloud, and we're going to go into the throne room of God. So all those who has Jesus as their Lord and Savior, who has been baptized and who has Jesus in their heart, will be raptured with him. He's going to come with the cloud, and we will all be taken away. So that is what we're looking out for next. That will be the next major event on the calendar of God. When we get to this section here, believe me, you don't want to be on earth, because this is the 7 years, according to the book of Daniel, of tribulation. This is where major biblical event is going to happen, and this is where we're going to look at the tribulation. So now we know where the rapture is. The rapture is going to happen after this age is complete. We're going to be raptured with Christ. We're going to wait in the throne room with him, and over here, this section, the 7 years, will be divided into 3.5 years, which we can go into more detail at a later stage. But this part here, this is where sorrows are going to happen. This is where the great tribulation is going to happen. This is where the Antichrist is going to rule and reign. So we don't want to be here. We want to be raptured with Jesus, waiting in the throne room where we're going to be safe and comfortable, because this is where the beast is going to be unleashed. This is where the 666 is going to happen. This is where he's going to be revealed and everybody's going to see him. So when I'm saying this, and if we understand the book of Revelation, we will know that this cannot happen here. So we are not able to identify the Antichrist, and we are not able to identify the mark of the beast, which is the 666. So we are still safe. We are still in the church age. Until we are raptured, we will be in the heavenly throne. This will then happen. If you continue to read the book of Revelation 4, that is where this age will start. And this is where the Antichrist will show himself. This is where he's going to bring false peace. And this is where trouble is going to just descend on the earth. Okay. So it is not for us now to know what the mark of the beast is and how it looks, and it is not for us to know the Antichrist or to identify him. And if we continue to the next stage, what happens after this, according to the book of Revelation, over here is going to be a millennial reign. I hope my spelling is okay. Of Christ for 1,000 years. You've probably heard that, or you've probably read it in the book of Revelation. And then the final judgment will happen over here, and that is going to leave earth in its eternal stage. But it's not going to be that easy, because there's a lot that needs to take place between the millennial reign, where the dragon will be, if you read the book of Revelation, the dragon will be tied up, Christ will reign, but then he's going to be unleashed again, the earth will be destroyed, and then a new Jerusalem will be revealed, which is another story for another time. But I've hoped that this section has at least brought a little light and a little revelation to you, and you will be able to identify the times that we are in. You are able to identify where we are